Okay, so here we have another graphics card to test on the channel, and today we have the AMD Radeon R5 340X. It is a OEM card. This one in this case is from Dell. It has 2 gigs of GDDR3 with a whopping 16 gigabytes per second of bandwidth. Whew, that's something else, ain't it? 8 RRPs, 24 TMUs. There's really not much else to really talk about. It's 28 nanometer. It's a piece of garbage. I believe it's GCN based to a degree. Actually, we can just find this out right here. I just want to apologize if I sound a little bit off. I am actually, unfortunately, sick, but is what it is. Let's see. Is it GC? Yeah, it is GCN based. So this is a GCN 1.0 card, 28 nanometer. I mean, it's pretty slow clock speeds. Like, there's really not much else to talk about with this graphics card. It's very boring. Not much else to really say. With that being said, the rest of the test system specs are as follows: a Ryzen 5 5600X, 32 gigs of DDR4 running at 3200 megatransfers, and then obviously we have our graphics card. We are also using the latest drivers, which are from August of 2022, so they don't support it anymore, but no surprise. So with that being said, let's I guess let's try some games and probably suffer through it, because I don't think it's gonna go well. Alright, so starting things off, here we have GTA 5 Legacy version running with the 800 by 600 resolution. We're gonna turn VSync off because I don't even know why that's on. And everything else is basically set to the lowest. We're actually going to go ahead and turn all this down as low as it'll go, just to give this thing the best fighting chance possible at, say, 45-50 frames per second, if we're lucky. I don't really know how this graphics card performs. I've not really seen any benchmarks on it, so this is going to be a surprise for both of us. So, yeah, with that being said, let's apply these settings and let's get into the game. Well, one thing's for certain. The frame rate isn't amazing considering we are running everything at the lowest with 800 by 600, but what I can tell you is it could be much worse. Granted, it is a little stuttery, so we're gonna go ahead and turn on the FPS graph here. Well, not graph, but start counting the frames, see what our 1% lows are, and see what our averages are. So yeah, with that being said, first impressions on this graphics card and what kind of performance we're getting. Well, it's absolutely abysmal. I was expecting a little better than 42 FPS in GTA 5, lowest settings, 800 by 600, especially considering this graphics card was released, I think, after the game came out. I mean, granted, it was a low-end card when it came out, but still, like, I feel like any graphics card that's come out after the release of at least GTA 5 should be able to run it pretty okay. I mean, yeah, this is definitely a playable experience, but it's not as good as I was hoping, not as good as I was expecting. I was hoping for at least 50s. Yeah, this graphics card came out in 2015, so technically it was after, because GTA 5 came out in 2013 on console, but not until 2015 on PC. So I guess, realistically speaking, it came out the same year as GTA 5 did on PC. Either way, we're getting 50s in this less intensive area over here, but obviously as you get into the more intensive areas like we were before, it's going to sit in the lower 40s, probably 30s if you go to a lot of vegetation, because that tends to be relatively intensive in this game. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely playable. I can't really say I'd recommend it because, 800 by 600 with the lowest settings doesn't look particularly good at really any screen bigger than like a 12-inch screen maybe, or CRT, but, well, chances are you're not going to be using a CRT in the big 26, and you're going to have a bigger screen than, say, 12 to 13 inch, right? So, that being said, a little disappointed, but is what it is. We're going to move on to another game. Okay, so as stupid as this may be, we have Fortnite running with the 720p resolution, running with the unlimited FPS cap, performance mode, old depreciated legacy version because that's DirectX 11, which this card technically supports DX12, but it doesn't really work. So we're gonna run this with the DirectX 12 legacy mode, or performance, like whatever, you saw what it is. We're running it with 65% render resolution, which equates to about 480, 460p, somewhere around there. So this is about 480p render resolution, with everything else set to the very low, or lowest options, I should say. So with that being said, let's get into a game and see if it runs. Alright, so as surprising as it may be, we have Fortnite running. I'm honestly impressed that it's running. I'm honestly impressed we were getting 80s in that pre-game area, that pre-lobby, and we're getting 60s up here. So honestly, this might not be as bad as I might think, but let's see how it is once we get on the ground. So I don't really know this map, so we're just gonna land wherever and hope we don't get killed instantly. So yeah, I also have the frame times. I have the average and 1% lows. As you can see, the game is stuttering, but it is stutter night after all, so I mean, that's kind of to be expected. It stutters on pretty much any system you play on for the first few games, but either way, we're getting around mid-40s around here, but then again, it is a more intensive area because we do have a lot of trees. But yeah, okay, up into 60s, 80s. I was honestly expecting way worse. Now, granted, I have noticed a weird bit of input lag. Like the game feels like there's about half a second of input lag, and I've never seen that before in this game. So it's not really playable, honestly, because of this input lag. Now, the frame rate itself, it's perfectly playable. We're getting 60 plus FPS pretty much all the time. But this input lag is, oh my god. There we go. I actually got a kill with this input lag. Yeah, I don't really know what's causing this input lag. I've never seen this on Fortnite before. So yeah, this is definitely different. It's definitely interesting, especially since we're almost hitting 100 FPS now, which is actually extremely surprising. But I do need to remember this is about 480, 460p of actual render resolution. So of course it's gonna run decently when there's really not much to render. So yeah, Fortnite is kind of playable if you can deal with the half a second of ish input lag. I mean, it's far from the worst experience I've had on Fortnite, but it's definitely far from the best. The stuttering seems to have chilled out a lot, which is cool. I'm sure it also doesn't help the graphics card only has DDR3 at 16 gigabytes per second, so I'm sure, you know, the lack of memory bandwidth is definitely not helping. So yeah, but still more impressive than I was expecting. I was expecting a lot worse, but okay, not bad. Not bad. They actually a game that's optimized. Unreal Engine 5. Wow. Never thought those words would come out of my mouth, but I'm going to say this game's pretty well optimized if we're running 100 plus FPS on a graphics card that came out, you know, a little over a decade ago. It was low end when it came out over a decade ago, and it's getting half okay FPS. So yeah, I think we're going to leave it here and we're going to try a different game, but consider me impressed. Consider me impressed. Okay, well, do we want the good news or the bad news first? It looks like we're getting the bad news first. The bad news is, well, the FPS is pretty freaking low. Although, we're getting in the 40s now. So, oh no, the stutters. Anyways, let's go over the settings real quick. We are running with the 720p resolution. We're using everything on the lowest and performance FSR. So I don't know what kind of render resolution this is. Probably like 240p or something, because this is performance FSR on 720p. So it's probably like 240p or something stupidly low like that. So yeah, I don't know for. Oh, we got a kill. I was gonna say I don't know if we're gonna get a kill with this pistol, because I forgot to buy a literally anything else. But no, we got a kill, and we just got killed in return. Anyways, this is, you know, I mean, this would have been playable back in, you know, Counter-Strike 1 days, you know, well, not Counter-Strike 1, but CSGO, back when it was CSGO, I bet you this game would have been playable on this card. But unfortunately, once it became CS2, it's become a lot more intense. I don't know how 3 hits didn't kill him, but that's besides the point. It's, you know, it's running, all right? It's running. I don't know why this mouse is weird, too. Why does all of my stuff I use for benchmarking just utter garbage? Like, the keyboard I'm using is like a Windows XP keyboard from a Dell system from the Windows XP days. And I mean, it works still, but like, it's far from ideal. And this mouse is also far from ideal because it's wireless, it's old, it's got built-in input lag, and the DPI is really low and it won't go up anymore. So I gotta move my mouse like halfway across my desk to do a full 360. It's like, no thanks. But hey, I'm getting kills. I've gotten 3 kills and I have 9 deaths. It's probably about to be 10 deaths and stay 3 kills. But you know, that's besides the point. You know, that I'm ass at this game. But I mean, it's yeah, I told you, it's doing honestly about as well as I expected. I didn't think it was going to crash. I knew it was going to work. Well, I didn't know, but I was fairly certain this game was going to work. But, you know, be playable is a different story, which it really isn't playable. But it's running. I'm playing the game. Granted, I can't really see much of what's going on in front of me. And the 30 FPS with dips below 30 occasionally, really are not helping my case, but I'm getting more kills than I was expecting, to be honest with you. But yeah, this is Counter-Strike 2, and I think we're probably gonna leave it here because this is just I can't. Yeah, it's not playable. All right, bottom line, it's not playable. But it runs, so it's something, I guess. But yeah, we're gonna try 1 or 2 more games, and then we're gonna call it quits because I think we've all suffered enough. So yeah, let's play like 1 or 2 more games. Okay, so here we have Half-Life 2 to close things out. Hopefully on a good note. Hopefully, we are running pretty much everything maxed out without VSync, and yeah, let's see how it runs. So it looks like we are doing all right. We're sitting around 60-ish, 50 frames per second. Now, to be honest with you, I was expecting a little bit better performance, but then again, this is the, you know, post-anniversary update, so it has all of the new fancy effects they might have added and all that stuff. So it's not going to run as good as the original version of Half-Life 2, but still fine, I guess, considering the card, the specs, and all that stuff. I guess it's fine, but once we leave these 2 doors, that is the true test. How much does the FPS drop? Because if you didn't know, through these doors, for some reason, is always extremely intensive. So let's see. Oh. Ooh. This is giving me flashbacks to the A10 video I did not too long ago, and it dropped to about the same frame rate. Ooh, okay, so this is performing what seems to be fairly similar to the R5 mobile graphics in that laptop I tested. With the same settings, the same area, we're getting roughly 10 to 20 FPS higher, but I mean, honestly, a lot of that could just be down to the power limiting on that laptop, not letting it get to the maximum rated clock speeds, but this is honestly kind of similar to the R5 mobile graphics in that A10 laptop I tested. Huh, interesting. Interesting. Anyways, let's play a little bit more Half-Life 2, and then after that, let's close out this video, I guess. So, going up here, we're still getting, you know, dropping down. Oh, I'm not doing the FPS. Whoops. Well, I don't really think I had to do the FPS, but now you have the FPS figures in case you want to. Oof, my nose. I'm sorry. She's extremely stuffed up today. I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? I don't know where the fuck I'm going. Yeah, actually, no, I'm going the right way. I thought that. Either way, 1% lows are actually a little bit lower than I was expecting, to be honest with you. 38, 1% lows. Not great. Definitely not as good as I was expecting, but I suppose it could always be worse. It could be 0 FPS, so it could be really low, like say Fortnite was, but Fortnite's also Stutter Night. Let's clear the FPS figures, and then let's start it again. There you go. Let's see what they drop down to out here. Okay. So we had a little dip there into the 30s, but for some reason that just quickly went away, so I don't know what the deal is with that. But either way, Half-Life 2 is running perfectly okay. Just for giggles and shit. So let's see what happens when we turn all this all the way low. Like low. Alright, let's see how that does. Keeping the 1080p resolution. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so we've essentially doubled our FPS. Still not as high as I was expecting from Half-Life 2 on a graphics card like this, which was released well after this game came out, nearly a decade or so. So I was honestly expecting a little better. I mean, granted, it is still 1080p, but it's also Half-Life 2. So, let's try 720p. Maybe I'm just expecting too much out of this little graphics card. That's kind of what I was expecting to happen. Instead, I only got less than that. Can I? Thank you. So yeah, this is running a lot better, more in line with what I was expecting, I guess. How 1080p low would perform, but I gotta remember this is a low-profile, low-end graphics card from 2015, so it's not gonna be great. But yeah, either way, Half-Life 2 is running good. I think we've ended on a positive note. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you want to see more like it, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. All of those tell me that you like these videos and you want me to keep doing them. So yeah, with that being said, hope you enjoyed, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.